that for?
So I can look like I'm doing something too, doing like a little extra something too. Even though I ain't gonna be doing shit on it, but I'm just gonna test it out. So that way, when I ask questions, I can make it seem like it's so thoughtful and came from something I thought of, like, and wrote down everything.
Are you saying that your questions for him are not thoughtful?
No, they're absolutely thoughtful.
Got you there, didn't I?
That's the second time he done did that, and I only seen him in 30 minutes. Good Lord.
Huh?
Go ahead. Go. No, do your thing.
Okay, yeah. I'm usually the one I always gotta do it. So,
welcome to today's episode of the Pod Couple, everybody. Welcome.
Yo.
And we got a special guest with us today, Mr. Billions, Mr. Dru Billions.
Yeah.
Yo.
So,
Hello.
like, I have to tell the people, like, when I first moved to Charlotte, right? I was actually an artist, and I had nobody, like maybe two people out here. And so from those 2-3 people I knew, they had me go to this one open mic. And then from that open mic, there's whispers of this name, this Dru Billions name. It was just going around. But then, so then I went to this other open mic at this completely other place. And then I hear, coming up next, Dru Billions. And I was like, wait, is that the guy?
The whisper.
And then ever since then, you have became like kind of an inspiration definitely inspiration to me, and inspiration to, I feel like, a lot of people, like, because you really know how to not only monetize off of what you do as an artist, you have an interesting story, you're talented, you are consistent, and now you're opening up this business, Uptown Indie.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. It's been a fun ride, you know. It's all come from just being a lover of the music myself, and I'm an artist first. I'll tell anybody, I don't care what business you see me in, what acting, whatever I'm doing, like, other than music comes first. I am an artist first. Like, I fell in love with hip hop at a very young age. I just got attached to the productions, the lyrics and everything like that. So, like, that's what I aspire to be.
How long you been doing that for?
I'm about 20 years in now.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I'm fortunate. I got the bug real early in life, when I was right around 10. So it's always been that ever since.
Right.
And then I ran into some, you know, I think that's like where the universe situation comes in. It's like, I think I think I am destined for it, because I put out that I wanted to do it. Then all of a sudden we moved into a new neighborhood where I ran into a guy. He was already on Fruity Loops, and this is 2005. So you can only imagine. It was like Fruity Loops, like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 or something like that. And so he was my introduction to the whole, like, digital landscape of doing music, and like being able to, like, record it ourselves and everything like that. And it just kind of just launched from there, you know. And
what's Fruity Loops?
Oh.
I'm over here thinking that it's cereal.
I'm the musician here. Yeah. Fruity Loops is.
I know I ain't the only one.
Fruity Loops is FL Studio. And FL Studio is like the software. Like, a lot of people, it's mainly used for, like, production, like making beats and stuff. But, like, you can
still
record.
Today.
Yeah, like, and you can record, you can mix and master. Like, it's probably one of, if not the most, like, popular software.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Is it, like, free to use?
No.
Oh, okay.
So it used to be.
It used to
or
be.
at least the crack version.
I was going to say, there's a will, there's a way.
I hear that.
That's how we used to use it.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it's important, though, like, tell the people, like, every, like, hat that you wear, like, all your many talents.
Yeah,
aside being an amazing artist.
Let's see. So on any given day, you can find me at a venue of some sort, making money off of hosting, DJing, graphic design for flyers, and overall creative director type of vibe for a branding awareness, for a marketing campaign. audio visual rental. I own full PA system, so you can host a concert that can do about 1,500 people. Wow. With that rental, I am an audio engineer by trade. So mixing, mastering, producing. I use Logic, Pro Tools, and Reason. Other software similar to Fruity Loops, all in that realm of creating music.
How much you charge?
Oh, there's different prices for everything. Also, what else is there? Event planning, event coordination, overall studio time, engineering, scoring, composing for sound to picture, as well as Foley and ADR. Foley is the sound effects that are added to like animation, you know, so like this phone, you do all of that and stuff like that.
Make a sound effect.
Yeah, so
that's pretty cool.
I record that. And then overall, just a business owner and just in general. And then branching off on that marketing, designing is the designing of my own products, my DBX collection apparel and footwear that I design. And I have an Italian manufacturer, so my shoes are Italian. That's one of the flagship products that will be launched with the store. And then being an artist,
And tell us about the store. Like, what's this store that you got coming out?
The company's called Uptown Indie. Indie is spelled INDE, is without the other I. It's just like the first letters of independent. You know, so that's where that comes from. The store is Fashion Music Lounge, which is comprised of a retail section where 100% of the artists come from 100% of the merchandise comes from artists. So all of our T-shirts and everything come from whatever type of creative that you are. I mean, you could be a photographer that just has a line of shirts for some reason. If it makes sense for you, if it makes sense for business, whatever, you know. So it's all, most importantly, that is coming from business owners. And then the performance aspect of being able to perform there in a coffee shop type of vibe to demonstrate and market your products. And then on the other side of our building, we have our production house, which is comprised of our studio, our recording studio, full recording studio, and the production of small run T-shirts, hats, and decals and other type of vinyl cutouts and things of that nature. So that's pretty much all of what will happen inside the store. And then since we have our beer and wine license, we want to package that with our studio time, bottles of champagne, things of that nature, and give an opportunity for a different type of retail structure so that we are combining the lounge aspect with a shopping experience. So instead of, us being open during the morning hours, we actually don't open till 4 p.m. So you come in and you just chill, you walk around, and it's really it's like an artist haven for artists to come and relax and network with other artists and find other people that are really pushing and moving. Because on the core aspect of why we're doing this as far as Uptown Indie is to promote independency in the fullest scale. So some of our tiers in our smaller tiers, it comes with packages of we have to have you have some type of business structure, whether that be an LLC partnership, whatever you have going on with your funding or whoever you're working with at that time. But that's the only way that we can move forward in business, so that it makes sense for once you blow, we blow, whoever, all the paperwork and everything is actually there. But then also we want to train the next entrepreneur. So whether or not you stay with us for 15 years, 20 years, 5 months, whatever it might be, we want to make sure that you do leave with some type of knowledge to go on to the next, so people aren't duped. And those are some of the core things that I've experienced through just being an artist, especially with like the with the studio aspect of paying for certain things and not receiving your products and things of that nature, and just being kind of, you know, artists of all different types. I feel like we're kind of used, you know, in whatever medium that we do, whether it be visual, audio, comedy, or anything like that. A lot of these venues and things like that, they use us to, you know, build up their branding and stuff like that. But when it comes time for us to actually get just due on our payments, it's not really found like that. So,
right, because coming from also being in the independent field as well, and we were talking about it a little bit off camera too, it's so difficult, anything independent, artist, producer, to make it into, you know, really like push yourself and break boundaries, and, you know, even just doing little things like just doing simple business, because, you know, it's like there's people out there in this industry that really try to just come for you when they know you're trying to chase your dreams, and you might be willing to do whatever it takes to get there. So to kind of create a safe haven for, you know, inspiring independent artists, or, you know, to actually learn, you know, the foundations of what they can do, what routes that they can take, because some people think that there's, you know, no monetization in being an artist aside from getting signed to a major record label or doing anything like that. But you don't have to. You can, and you've proven this.
Right. That's actually the argument that I make with a lot of people about the notion of making it. You know, I made it the day they put $500 in my hand and I performed for 30 minutes.
Wow.
As an independent artist, shit, you can't tell me. Because what happens with that, does it happen every time? No. But now you've positioned yourself on the next level to where now you have leverage. Because when you take that to your next person and you be like, oh, I want this, they're like, well, why? Who's paid you? Well, I have receipts. I have the checks and balances. That can show that I'm worth that, and especially venue credibility and things of that nature. You know, say X venue, which is top 5 or whatever in your city, paid me to do this thing that I'm wanting to get payment from you for. There's validity in that, you know. And so when you do that enough times, hell yeah, man, hell yeah, I made it. And then, you know, and then figuring out how to do my own shoes and do, you know, just make my own clothes and stuff. Like, that shit is easy. I'm sorry, I don't know if there's cussing on there, my bad.
No, you can cuss. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
But that's like, you know, in today's world, just as easy as people be like, oh, social media is easy. You just hop on TikTok and it's all easy and this and that.
Fast.
The business is there too. There's 30 businesses that you can Google right now that come up that can slap your logo on a shirt. And you mean to tell me y'all still going out and not have nothing?
Right.
Bro, you can go get iron-on letters individually from Walmart if it really is a budget situation, and just iron your name, iron your IG, something just to set yourself apart as something as an artist and be like, yo, this is me, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
nah, Dru Billions, that's corny. That's corny to promote myself. That's corny.
But, you know,
I ain't got that money.
Look, and then, like, you can have the best product in the world, but if no one knows, they'll never know. Like, you know, and we hear it all the time. I feel like there's those people that, like, they'll listen to all of these podcasts from guys that are really dropping jewels, but they don't apply any of it.
Right.
They really don't. Like, that's I think, you know, that's just content consumption these days. There's the ones that do and the ones that don't.
Of course,
Yeah.
Of course. And, you know, I think another thing too that's led to you being, I'm going to say it because I know how I am. Like, so someone the other day tried to call me successful. I'm like, I'm not successful. But so I'm going to say you're successful.
Oh, appreciate it.
I'm going to say you're a successful independent artist because you're a profiting, monetizing independent artist. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that led to that is the fact that you supply a good service. Because I've been 100%. In the studio and stuff, right? And I'm not going to say any names, but it'll be an artist. It'll be an artist that's just like, man, this motherfucker just paid $1,000 for this feature. I'm about to give him some bullshit. You know, I'm just like, I'll say something. I'll be like, damn, like you gonna do him like that? Like he just, but you just said like you got paid for $500 to perform for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I've seen Drake perform and I've seen you perform.
Yeah.
When I tell you, and I shit you not, that he is up to par performance wise of Drake, he's up to like he's a performer. You feel that shit. Like, he's a real artist. He means that shit. Yeah. So it's like you really like supply a good product.
Thank you. You know, that's great to hear someone else say it too. Because sometimes I'd be like, damn, I hate being braggadocious sometimes, but I'd be telling people like when I'm on stage and stuff, I'll slip in and I'll be like, I really enjoy rapping so much, and I feel like I've been blessed with not only just a talent that was there, but then also I've been blessed with a mind to cultivate the skill to do it even better. Like that shit, like I put in work, like to like really put these words together. So like I'd be like, yo, when I hear great rappers or whoever's in your top 5, for me, I don't think anything of it. I'd be like, all right, let's go in the studio. The notion of some people be like, oh man, I had to rewrite my verse and this and that. I'm like, damn, that's crazy to me, because like I just go in every time. Like, you know, like so that element of giving someone a bullshit thing. Funny thing for me personally, I feel like some of my best verses are features. Yeah, because like that. I feel like it's almost like a extra layer of creative like thing that you get to unlock when you're like collabing with somebody, and when you're like sometimes bouncing ideas or just sometimes just a different energy. Because like, you know, when you're making music by yourself is one thing, you know, like you make a beat and then somebody rap on this, you probably never thought like, I don't even think somebody could rap on this, you know, right? And that element of just collaboration or whatnot, and but just being your full authentic self, I think that's a lot of this as well. I try I don't try. I work very hard to lead with my most authentic self every day I can. And that's why I had to get out of 9-to-5 corporate life. I couldn't do it. Right. People couldn't stand just somebody just standing firm on things, and like, amen to that. Yeah. And like me telling you no. Corporations. You know, so yeah.
And it's a delusional thing, isn't it, too? Like, whenever you leave, you're like, you have to tell yourself, even on them days, that it's like, I ain't made shit. Nah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get by. It's going to happen. Yeah. Because, you know, as a man, it's just like, it's in you to make it happen. Yeah. So you have to, regardless of anything. But see, the good thing is when you're doing something that you love and you're passionate and genuine about, you feel good about it. Yeah. It's like you were saying, I told what you told me about the something to do with the lifestyle entrepreneurship and different types of entrepreneurship. Oh yeah, as far as like the different types of entrepreneurship, I ran across this article. I don't remember all of them, but specifically dealing with myself as like a lifestyle entrepreneurship, being based on you getting to do the things to feed your lifestyle that technically could be considered a 9-to-5, but it's within your same industry that you're able to synergize off of it or whatnot. So, for example, my business, since it was already formed, when I got a call to come aboard and be an event manager for a production company, for an events company, since I already had my LLC formed, that's now a service that I get to offer. Cool. That service pretty much covers a lot of things, and it gets to continue the growth of the business. But then also, since it's an event company, I do events and I am an artist. I've been with the company for 3 months now, and I've gotten 3 different types of checks based on my capacity as my own artist. So not only did I get a check for designing the festival layout, I got a check for being an artist at the festival. On the actual event day, because my value was there. Right. One of my biggest checks to date. Very happy for it. Now, as an actual artist, I was like, damn, that's dope. And then on another capacity to assist with sound as well. They didn't have enough speakers. Guess what?
I have speakers.
Right.
You can rent them from me.
Right.
Right.
All three different capacities, all within the realm of what I do on a day-to-day basis, you know,
Nice.
as far as just being like an entrepreneur. And that's why I be telling artists, man, there's much more to whatever. Yeah, you can be going after like a route something, but I promise you, like, there's other little pathways that you can get into within that industry that can like bring you money. You know, some people is just like, oh, I just want to be on stage. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, that's all cool and dandy, but you should, as in, like, for example, just using music as say you're an artist. All right, cool. You've never worked at a concert venue, you know, some shit like that.
Right.
You just never know, because now, especially if you're really about it, and you say you take that, parlay that into, oh, you're already a great networking. What the hell do you think is gonna happen? You working at a concert venue, you just happened. Okay, tonight's rollout. You're backstage, blah blah blah, this and that or whatever. You bump shoulders with whoever, you know, and this and that or whatever. So that's why I've always tried to be around it. So like, even before like my business started taking off to where it was my main source of income, that's where all the hats came from. Was just, okay, I'm not DJ Dru Billions,
Right.
but I know enough about DJing that I can do a wedding or a party or this and that. You know, I'm not doing clubs and stuff like that. So like, all right, cool. You know, I can make some money off of that, and I can still be in it, or I can work sound, be a sound engineer, and work sound at a venue. Cool. I'm not on stage or whatever. Cool. I use it as a learning experience. Not only am I learning from my craft as far as like how music is sounding from all these different genres, especially if you're like at a multi-genre facility like a live music venue, but I'm also getting to see all of these artists. I'm getting to meet people. I'm getting to network and be within my industry.
And it's priceless. It's so
Yeah.
priceless.
You know?
Like a lot of people, when they see people like me need to do a lot of different stuff and we wear different hats, they think they're green. They just want to try and make money, but it's not like that. It's just that we do what we love and we get to wake up every day and doing different things. It's
Building
priceless.
experiences.
Exactly. It's priceless. So how did you as an artist get to where people began trusting you to do things like event correlate and host and things like that?
Yeah, was that before or after the $500?
After.
Okay.
Yeah. Shit. I would actually say consistency. Because what had happened was, like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years now, to where this Dru Billions character is actually only about 5 years old.
Really? Mm-hmm. What'd you go by before?
Drew Blast. I went by Drew Blast for 15 years. I released almost 13 solo albums, did a compilation album with a couple artists, produced a couple artists, like full on like Kanye West project. I did a instrumental anthology, all under a different name. And then I was I've always been on the, I want to be independent. So I was, you know, obviously I'm a little older or whatever, but I was still burning.
Not obvious.
Yeah.
I was like 27. Okay.
Nah, man, I'm in my 30s, bro.
Everyone thinks differently, I guess.
I'll be forgetting. But, you know, I was still burning CDs, you know. I was coming from that era, and so I was late to the party of putting music online. Like, I did a little bit of Reverb Nation and Bandcamp a little bit, but the whole shift when, like, I would say CD Baby and like TuneCore were like the first iterations of like putting your music online and stuff. I was kind of late to the party. So what happened was, when I went to go come back, I had moved away, changed my name, this and that, kind of found myself again or whatever. When I went to go upload everything, there was a Drew Blast named the same. He spelled it the exact same way.
Of course.
And he's in China. Or
Wow.
Yeah. So I message him, or I'm looking it up. I see that he recently started using the name. I was already starting using the name, but because I didn't have it in a digital form, I was using the name from 2008 in a CD physical form. But since it's all been underground, I didn't like have barcodes and things like that. So he didn't really see that there was a Drew Blast already. So I messaged him and I was like, yo, I go by Drew Blast. Like, I've been using this name for a minute, this and that. He messaged me back. He's like, yo, you don't got no internet presence or whatever, so fuck you.
Wow.
And I was like,
hello, nothing.
I remember Rizzy Ray. He was like cool as fuck. Like,
it was wild. And I was just like, all right, damn. So it was funny because for a time I was like, all right, well, his music sucks anyway. So yeah, I'll say that shit.
fuck you, Drew.
Wherever you are. And then I noticed that like the views weren't like up or whatever. So I was like, well, shit, if I come out as Drew Blast and I just beat him to the punch, then it is what it is.
Right.
But then on the business side of it, when I went, I was reading my contract and the fine print of what's going on DistroKid and everything.
I know that's right.
There was some fine print about if you have the same name as somebody, they don't have any software or anything to delineate it from each other. So I could literally go 10 times platinum here and it can all go to him.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, nah, I'm cool. Maybe like I'll get a piece of it because of like the publishing, because it's like attached to my name and social, but like the actual streaming would go to him, and or there's a possibility that it could. And I was like, nah, I don't even want to run that risk.
And it couldn't go backwards?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, either way, you know, but like, I was like, nah, I don't. And then for me, backwards, I'm like, I'm Drew Blast, so it's like, or if I'm Drew Blast, or whatever, and I tell somebody that, and they just Google it, and they see him first,
right?
And what if they don't?
Who is this Asian?
Yeah, and it's like, what if like they don't actually know what I look like, you know, and it's like, oh, well, I'm listening. I was like, oh, you don't really sound like him, but
then
you know,
this shit's terrible.
Yeah, you know, exactly. I'm like, fuck it. So, fast forward, that's where Dru Billions came from. So yeah, about 5 years ago, when I came back to Charlotte, it was like end of 2019, and I came back in 2019. And
where'd you live?
I was in Texas.
Okay.
I was right in Austin. And I was just about to like get back into it, and COVID hit. And then right after COVID, I was one of the first people to start doing shows. So like right after like they started opening up again. And then I think it was just, I personally feel like it was just consistency and quality. The quality of the people that started coming to the shows and realized like, oh, this is like an artist driven show, because y'all focused on if there's 50 or 100 people here. I'm focused on the person that's on stage with the microphone belting their heart out with their expression, and I want y'all to listen to, you know. And then after they're done, I want us to have a conversation about that artist, because that's what I've seen for me personally with the open mics. You can't get out enough within the 1-2 song structure, especially if it's now presenting Dru Billions. Blah, 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 blah. Great job, Dru Billions. Up next, we have Rizzy Ray, you know?
Right.
Like, I'm just like, damn, you know, it's like, for us, it sucks. And then I feel like for the guests, it sucks too. It's like, you're just cramming all of this information in them. And then, you know,
humans, we can't keep up that fast. So by that time, he then said the fourth person, like, I didn't forgot.
Right. You know?
Number 1 and 2.
You know?
I'll tell you right now, though, when I first came to that open mic, and then after somebody performed, he started asking the crowd, I started sweating fucking bullets. But it was good, though, because I can see it. I was like, oh, shit. I think I leaned over to Bryce somehow. I was like, they're going to fucking make us like everybody. But it was cool, though, because it was like, it was intimate, for one.
Yeah.
And two, like, it really, like, is good feedback that you're getting, because everyone else in there does what you do, too. So, like,
they want that same kind of
concept.
Feedback.
Yeah. Like, it was, and, like, the way that you create the environment, too, like, everybody's positive. Like, if anyone does have anything to say, it's going to be like constructive, you know
right?
I mean?
And you know, that's I guess that's where the hosting thing like starts to come out in me. I'm just like, all right, well, let me lead this properly, you know,
right?
Because I don't want it to be a slaughter or anything like that. Because shit, still to this day, I remember the two worst times in my musical journey, and I'm happy that it only happened that twice. The first time in Atlanta, dude straight up was like, yeah, that shit was trash.
Dang.
Yo, I remember to this day, it was like the disdain on his face.
It was disgusted.
Yeah,
with
I was
you,
just like,
that man was having a bad day.
Yo, and I'm just like, damn, all right. And then the funny thing, he's like, he starts rattling off these, prominent rappers or whatever. And he's like Scarface and Rakim and this and that. And he's like, this is who I listen to. He's like, I don't know if you know who those people are. And I'm like, bro, I know hip hop. Like, come on. You heard me rapping up here. Like, it might have not been, I guess, the greatest at that time, but whatever. But like, obviously, I'm rapping, like, you know.
He felt some type of way about it, so he can't say it wasn't impactful.
Yeah, man. And then I got booed one time. That was in Atlanta as well. Yo, Atlanta's like thorough. Yo, Atlanta's honest and thorough. But you know, it was one of those situations when you hear, oh, it wasn't an L, it was a lesson, you know, type of thing. Because for me, it was really a lesson that I just performed the wrong song, which what I later learned, what I'd be trying to, or what I would like to like expand to other artists, like during those open mic situations, is I brought the vibe down. I was about 6-7 artists in. Everybody before me was doing some like, you know, trap Atlanta type stuff. There was some R&B in it or whatever, but at that time I was on some, I don't know, I was like on some like kind of like Andre type stuff, but more Erica, I guess. Like, I'm rapping, but it was like very like neo soul, and I guess I really wasn't there yet for me lyrically yet or whatever. But the fact is, since I brought the vibe down, they were like, nah, get that shit off stage or whatever. And that's what kind of taught me that lesson of you have to cater to your crowd. You have to like always be present, especially when you're going into situations where you're performing in front of like say 90% of people that never heard you before. You got to be ready for like to call your own audibles. So that's what actually led later to me when I was really heavy on the open mic circuit. My flash drive, I would have at least 10 instrumentals ready to go from all different types of genres. If there's a bunch of niggas in here, all right, cool, we're gonna get turned up. If there's a bunch of women, all right, cool, I got my love stuff or whatever. If the vibe is like, oh, we talking about love tonight or whatever, cool, I got my love songs or whatever, this and that. You know, to always be like present and in the moment. I feel
flexible.
Like, yeah, man.
How did you feel though that second time? Like when it
first happened, I mean, yeah, it was sucky. Like you don't, and then they do the Sandman thing, so it's like they cut the music and everything. So you just have to like walk off and
stomach drops.
Yeah, wow. And then you know like tough skin for sure, but then you also got a confidence to like stay if you really like.
Did you stay?
I think for a while, yeah, I did. You know,
both of them.
Yeah, for most part. Yeah, for a while. I didn't stay to the end, but yeah, I stay. Right. You know,
and were both of them like large crowds?
It's about 50 people. 50 people. Yeah, hell yeah. That's enough.
I'm starting to sweat myself.
It's to feel bad for
It's enough,
right,
you know.
Right,
but, you know.
That's inspiring, though, getting
man.
through that.
Yeah. But you know what's crazy, though? Like, how many of those artists nowadays are doing what you're doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Trying to.
Like, look, I feel like, for me, performance is my favorite part of the music. Aside from writing it, recording it, I like to perform it the most. So, and I think maybe that's why those situations really stick in my head so much, even to where, you know, I guess we're our biggest critic, but a lot of shows, I've done 2-3 hour shows to where I've literally only messed up one time. I get off stage and I'm talking about that one time. I'm over here like, fuck, I messed that word up. Ugh.
All right, sure.
You're trash, Drew. Like, you know, and you know, but it all comes down to being an artist first. And I think what happens, you have to respect the artistry. So I feel like some people, when they get into whatever medium that they get into, they don't respect it. I'm not talking about like legacy and like old, new, and this and that, like respect to the ones that came forward. That's great. Definitely do that. Like especially if, you know, you feel the integrity in your heart to do that, for sure. Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about the actual just art of respecting. Not everybody's able to do what you do, you know, especially in the field of us getting in front of people. Mm-hmm. There's some people that they can't even talk in front of 5 people, right, let alone getting in front of 100, right, you know. Right. So with that, I sometimes want to like do the Spider-Man, like with great power comes great responsibility. Like, all right, so since I have that power to like get on stage in front of people and not waver and like speak with like some type of like authority, and then have a conscious mind to actually speak something positive into the world. All right, cool. I'm gonna wield that, as best as I can. And for me, it's just artistry, the expression of getting out all of this shit that we have inside. Like, mediums could be a vice of our own. Like, we don't say that, that we can use every day. Like, it could be a vice, or like we could label it as such, to where we can just use it and it makes us feel good, and we can use it to cope with this. I guess not cope, but like use it as an extension while we're here on this human plane.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a really good thing that, you're doing for people, because music is hypnotic, and especially rap music, because, I mean, I think it was like some sort of study showing it's like if you do like a YouTube video where you're talking, and then you take that same video and put music behind it, you're like something way more likely to remember it if you heard it with music behind it.
Interesting.
So especially with rap music, and so when you're talking about like the things like in a lot of your music, I've heard you talk about like your story, your upbringing, inspirational things. It definitely like can make you feel inspired, and especially when you put your energy and your your true feelings into your words. It's an energy transfer, and I mean, because everything is all frequency, so it really hits people's soul when they listen to it.
Yeah. That's actually brings up a point of, like, for me, I guess, you can create stories within music, but then there's like, I guess, certain types of styles of music that you can do where it's more autobiographical. And because of that, like, I think most of my music is, I'm coming from a place of like, I'm living this, so I'm trying to share it in whatever capacity. But I'm more so leaning towards the nonfiction element. So like lying or saying something that I actually don't live in my music, when it comes to reciting it, it doesn't feel right. It actually feels like my soul, or like some in me is just like, no, but we don't. It's like, it's almost like, it's like a neuron that like it's like misfiring almost, that it's like it's going down this path and it gets to this point and it's like, but you've never done that before, so you don't know how to say that with an emphatic feeling, because you've never lived that or whatever. Or at least for me personally.
Are you a spiritual person?
Very. Hell yeah.
Like, you because I feel like you talking about like that neuron, and I'm over here, that sound like God.
Yeah, in a sense. Like, in a sense.
Like, do you ever get that guided feeling like that when it comes to, especially like being an artist and having gone through your experiences? Do you feel like a lot of it was like that?
Oh yeah. I feel that for all of us. I feel that for all creators, and no, I feel that for any human that sets forth and to do something in their life that they emote joy from, and they're like, they can feel something from it. Like, I feel like that's the God in us. So like, so like, I'm a Cancer or whatever, so I guess that's why I'm emotional sometimes, I guess. But I say that, so like, yo, when I see somebody win, my joy, I'm dropping tears. Like, I feel when people like have that, like, you could just, I'm not even like the biggest sports fan, but if I see somebody like, you kind of grew up with them or whatever, 10, 12, 15 years, whatever, and then all of a sudden they get the chip and whatever that they're doing, you could almost like see that in their eyes and desperation, like, I fucking sacrificed, I worked, and I relate to that. That's what I relate to in us all. So it's like, that's why I tell anybody, you just gotta choose something, and you just got to choose within your mind to do whatever you do. Like, not even choosing something, like whatever it is, just like fucking just do it. Just get up and just, you got to go forward. Right. You got to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been reading this book lately. It's kind of like a really popular self-help book. You might have heard about it. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I've read it, but
it's a really good book. Like, and I haven't finished it yet, but one of the things that it talks about is that you kind of have to like choose your struggles. You know what I mean? Like, you might think buying a house will make you happy, but buying a house now, your repairs, you know, now you need maintenance, and now you need to, and some people, they'll do that thing that made them happy, and then they'll fall out, like, you know, because then there comes the problems that come with that thing that you wanted, that dream job you wanted. There's gonna be problems. Every single person in that room has those same problems. So you have to know, like, coming in and hear about it coming in, and like be able to pick and choose what to give a fuck about. You know, so there's definitely like certain things when it comes to like artistry, like whether you make beats or you make songs, that you have to face certain things, like your experience getting booed. You know what I mean? Like, or I've like played my beats and stuff for like industry professionals, for them to go, this isn't it, this is ass, critiquing it, and then those same beats end up getting purchased by somebody else. But you have to deal with that. You have to know how to have that thick skin. Some people will give it to you gently, like, well, you know, and give you constructive criticism, and some people will. But you have to deal with it. You know? We all have to.
That's for sure.
For sure. So, tell me about this. Your latest project you dropped in 2024, Made in America.
Oh,
the cover of Made in America. Those are your mugshots. So tell me, like, dude, that's a very vulnerable thing to do.
Quite literally.
So what about it?
What about my mugshots?
How do you expand from there? No, but like, but it's just like, tell me about the like, what made you choose to do that?
Living my most authentic self. That's who I am. That's it's a piece of me. It's a my life experience, you know. Fortunate that like all those mugshots didn't come from anything serious, you know. I'm talking traffic citations and shit, or like, I remember one of those is actually they arrested me for solicitation for doing door-to-door sales, and I was just bad mouthing the cop. So whatever.
Shit like that.
You know. And then one of them is just fucking just being broke as shit, man. Like, having to, like, all of the stuff that we have to do to keep up with our cars, registrations and the insurance and all that stuff, you know, sometimes.
Oh my God, you ain't lying.
You know, all of that stuff. So in my early 20s, I just didn't give a fuck. Like, I'm out here trying to get it, you know. So it's like, man, I need that 300, 200, whatever it needs, you know, whatever. Especially when it's just coming around once a year. It's like, I'm almost forgetting about it too, because none of that shit has anything to do with me being a good driver.
Right.
Does it, you know?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. 100%.
Like,
I'm putting gas in the car.
Exactly, you know.
I got the keys.
So yeah, stuff like that. But then also, there is also an element of, so that Made in America, as far as the cover goes, that was synonymous also with my mind state of why I grew my locks. Because for so many years, as a black man, I always heard, oh, nah, stay clean cut and this and that, you know, that's the thuggery, whatever. All of the rhetoric goes around with that, you know, with like having this certain hairstyle or whatever and this and that or whatnot. And for me, like, I was just like, that hairstyle don't got nothing to do with the shit that's going on inside my brain, man. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I'm not gonna fall for that anymore. And I think that's around the time I started to kind of break out of just the system in general, like whatever, not even being racial, like the system. Like, you know, I know the government has blah 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 and all of that stuff, you know. You know, when you start realizing that, you know, whatever, take the red, whatever it might be that you call it in your mind or whatever. So that's like where it really started from. And I just wanted to just like, yo, I'm a statistic, unfortunately, but it doesn't define me.
No.
You know, it's just like, whatever. And I'm not gonna like hide behind it or whatnot, like this and that. Like, yeah, that's just it.
It's just being authentic. Yeah. You know, it's crazy because even like I'm gonna be completely real. I wasn't even expecting that answer. I was thinking more of like this, like, well, you know, I used to be this and that, this and that, this and that, but now I'm changed. Like, no, this was more of like no, this is me. This is who I am. Like, I like that. Like your own, because it owns up to it. Like, this is who I am. And I love that too. And
nobody's gonna catch me like on these podcasts or whatever. Like, but he said such and such. He was a part.
I know that's right.
He's a part gang or whatever. Nope, not me. You know, I mean, or whatever.
No,
but
of course not. Because, well, I mean, on top of that too, I mean, I'm probably gonna get into some trouble, but I mean, I feel like half of Charlotte drivers don't have their
right. Right.
When I first moved out here, I was like, oh no, don't snitch on yourself.
What they gonna do?
There he is.
All right, probably.
Honestly, it kind of makes sense because it's like, why is the DMV so full every day? Like, if everybody like supposedly got their shit, you know?
Right? Yeah.
So like these police officers sometimes they just be trying to hit their quota.
Yeah, that's it. You know, or whatnot. So yeah, I thought that was a powerful thing. And then of course, then there's the music side of it as well, as far as Made in America, MIA, and the MIA. Subconsciously, the missing in action type of situation, and then me actually being born in Miami, being MIA. So it's like little things like that like I just like to, I like to be artistic, you know. And then of course I'm coming from that age of physical copy CDs where everything meant something. Like they didn't slap that shit together. Like the cover was one way, the spine was one way, the inserts like some people having posters, lyrics, whatever it might be on the inside, but those things were like sought after, you know. So I still kind of want to bring that kind of element back in this digital landscape of still like, you know, dropping my own little, you know, Tyler Creator Easter egg and shit like that or whatnot and stuff like that. So and then lastly, I Made in America also, that whole thing was produced by my first producer, which is like, he's the like quintessential hip hop producer. Like he pretty much is like the Pete Rock type of kind of guy, Jay Dilla type of dude that he can make anything with just the MPC 2000. Yeah, and that was my first introduction to like a real fucking producer. He's like 15 years my senior as well. So like when I went down to ATL, this was the first guy as a solo artist getting to like, I went down to ATL with the purpose of, I quit my job, sold all my things in my apartment at the time, and I moved down there on a whim because I said to myself, I am an artist. I really want to do this rap shit. I really want to be in music. I need to go to the closest thing that I can get more acclimated with it, and that was ATL. Right. And by the grace of God, he was the first person I ran into, and that was the best person I ever ran into because he was able to school me not only on the industry, but also as a man, as a black man, but then also on the history of fucking hip hop. He had a CD collection, like how people have vinyl collections. He had a CD collection, which made it even better for me or whatever. Right. He pretty much had like everything from 85 to like 2001. And I'm talking the whole collection. So if it was, he had all of NWA. He had all of Wu-Tang. He had all of RZA stuff. He had all of Raekwon. Wow, so like, yeah, so like, that was my home. I was pretty much like doing homework with myself. I'd go to the studio, I'd leave with a CD, and then I'd complete it like how we would watch like Godfather 1, 2, and 3. Right. Like I'd just be like, all right, straight out of Compton, 100 miles of running, and then go to the next one, and then like, all right, cool. I'll listen to NWA, then I'll move over to the East Coast, and then that's actually, I'm freaking grateful, man. Like it couldn't have been a better opportunity for me to learn. Especially from the aspect of like I was almost like a kid again, being able to be molded in the proper way right out the gate. With hearing, he was based on Sonics, so he was like a mix between RZA is a mix between RZA and Dre, because I feel like he's like really gritty with the like he's a Brooklyn dude, so he's like gritty with the MPC. Like it's like sometimes it doesn't. There was some mixes that they weren't even like fully, they were like compressed the fuck out, like they were clipping and stuff, but somehow the frequencies, they just rock together, and they were just
perfect.
you know. But then he had the sonic quality because of that from Dre, and that's why he was able to like really carve frequencies and stuff like that. Man, shout out to DJ Chase, wherever you are. And yeah, so that's what it started at, man. And that's kind of like back to a previous point you had mentioned about sacrifice. Like, there is a lot of sacrifice we have to make, are the chosen sacrifices and stuff like that. Like, I remember as I started to grow within the industry, within myself, and like, okay, and now I have a studio or whatever. It started to be, oh, well, I can't afford to have an apartment and a studio, but I know I need a studio because I'm trying to start my business. Right. Cool. So I'm sleeping on the couch in the studio. Right. Sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, some people, like, they're not willing to like really, for a month or two or a year or two or whatever, like, shit, I could say at this point in my life, damn, I've lived more in a studio environment than I've lived in an actual home.
Wow. Since
18. Yeah. Since like I moved out. Yeah. I probably had an apartment for a full collectively 5 years out of the last 15 years of life.
Wow. Because you're dedicated to it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So to you, it's like, this is home.
Yeah, it is, you know, and like it is just what it is. And then I've just been fortunate, like, one of my facilities that I had, it had a shower in there. Like, it was like a business condo and shit like that. So I was like, all right, cool.
Convenient as hell.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah, man. Shoot, I had my little hot plate and shit like that, cook up and stuff like that, man. You know, it's all for, I'm nowhere near where I'm like traveling for, but it, you know, it's like, it's just, you got to just stay focused and somehow and cut out whatever you need to, you know, to just try to get to that next level. And that's why I've been fortunate enough to where this building appeared last year. And I was able to make that move, you know.
And it fell right into your hands then.
Yeah, it did.
That's how it usually goes, though. It's not the first place you looked at. You might not even been looking. Like, I don't know, like.
No, I wasn't looking, and I wasn't looking for a long time. But then when I needed to look, it was off of a whim, because the space was where I was at. I was renting a room from a place that had like multiple units in it. Mm-hmm. But they, you know, we were able to like use whatever and this and that. But he was like, "Oh, the place got black mold in it. We got to leave." And I'm like, oh shit, all right, cool. So I move everything out, and then next thing you know, he's having a problem with re-signing the lease with the landowners. They're not wanting to re-sign whatever and this and that. So there was just this point of, okay, maybe it is time. Why I said it was maybe time? When I say, man, I know that I'm going to be a billionaire in life.
I know that's right.
Because I guess
the name.
Yeah, hence the name, and I think it's just because like just some of the things that I'm like going towards. Like, I think it's gonna happen, because when I tell you last year, my New Year's resolution was one thing. It was just something that I wrote on my board. Uptown Indie grand opening 2025. And it just happened. I wrote that for New Year's 2024.
Wow.
There's just on a whim, I was just like going into 2020, or at the end of 2024. I was like, all right, or I'm sorry, I wrote that at the beginning of 2024. So 2023 going into 2024. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm somewhere in the universe, I feel like I'm going to be opening Uptown Indie in 2025. Somewhere in the universe, in that pipeline, those 6 months, June happens, that's when I get the call about the black mold in 2024, and then they can't re-sign, and then I'm just like, well, I didn't think I was ready or whatever, and then all of a sudden I looked online. I think I found like 3 spots that I knew that were in the immediate budget, you know, like without me even had to like try to get outside funding, like something that I could just do myself. I was like, all right, these are the 3 spots. And then the first 2 spots denied me. They were like, no, we're not wanting to do the type of thing you're doing. One was credit and this and that. And then the third option, when I called him, He was like, yeah, can you come check it out today? And I was like, all right, cool. You know, I went down. I was like, oh man, I love this. When I tell you it wasn't in the thought process of trying to get this building, because that was when I was just supposed to go on my first independent tour to New York.
Wow.
So that was last year. So I told him, I said, well, I'm actually supposed to go on tour next week. So like coming up with like a deposit and everything, I'm like, I don't know, I'm not sure about this and that or whatever. But I don't know, something, you know, sometimes I think we just do have to like trust ourselves or whatnot. But something told me, just take it. I was like, just throw it out there. I said, hey, can we do it after I get back from New York? And he said, all right, you know, if it's open, you know. And I was like, all right, I get you. He, I guess, forgets the conversation and sends me the contract the next day.
Wow.
For the building. So he let me sign, and he was like, yeah, just pay me when you get back into town after your tour. And that was the biggest thing that anybody could ever done, because then it was just like, all right, if he's saying this, I'm like, all right, cool. He just gave me my own window of trying to figure out how I can get this money together to get into this building.
You must have felt something too.
Yeah, you know, and that was, and because a commercial building, bro, it's first on site. Whoever's coming with the cash, you know, not signing to a, you know, some guy that just call you, that I met off Craigslist, mind you.
Wow.
This is a Craigslist posting, mind you. You know, and then you hear sitting on a contract for a week and a half.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He cool with that.
Yeah, and I'm like, and I get back, by the grace of God, I was able to pull it together, and then the building, you know, became mine, and I'm just like, wow, this is it's one of those things where, like, even as I was sitting there for the first couple of months, inside the building, you know, just kind of getting everything ramped up as far as the rebuilding or the build out, you know, mapping everything out of how it's gonna go and everything. Like, it was one of those situations, like, oh shit. Everything that you've ever thought about for the last like 10 years of even this thought, it's here. This is my actual physical moment that is going to make my first $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, like wholeheartedly. And I'm just like that. Sometimes I feel like to artists out there, man, sometimes when you get blessed with an opportunity, man, you got to acknowledge where it can take you and just grasp that thing and really hold on to it and ride it to the fullest. Because I mean, there was elements when I first got the building where like I was more focused on just trying to make money. Mm-hmm. So I was still in the 9-to-5 corporate mindset where like I'm 5 months in the building and I'm still working at 9-to-5, and I'm thinking to myself, getting pissed off every day, getting in trouble with customers, management, blase. And I'm in the car going home, and I'm just like, but Dru, you have a business. You actually have a LLC.
You've got resources.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is your building. You, bro, go make that shit work. Go make it work, you know? And that's what I did. I fucking, I think, I wound up getting fired, but it was already in line of me quitting anyway. Right.
You don't gotta fire me. I quit.
Yeah, you know, I was just like, fuck this, you know.
Wait for that day.
Yeah, you know. So it's a journey, you know. So
right.
Sometimes.
But you know what though, you're making all the right decisions, and like I understand exactly where you're coming from. When I left my 9-to-5 and pursued, you know, producing and everything full time, for a while, I still, like, just a coup for, like, the rest of the money I would need for every day, I would DoorDash.
Yep. And
then one day, like, I felt something to do with my car or something. I was like, you know what? I got a recording studio. Fuck this. I don't need to do this.
Right.
And then, sure enough, from that point on, never had to again.
You know, I feel like that is... I feel like that's kind of like the validity of where some statements around like frequencies and energies and things out here in the universe speak it into existence. Mm-hmm. Like we've heard that enough to where it's like we've had enough instances in our life to where it's shown itself, but we don't acknowledge it, so we don't believe it or like take that hold and be like, oh man, this is really thing. And that I feel like that falls in that category of like once you put it out in the universe and be like, oh, this is what I'm doing, this is who I am. Like, oh, okay, cool. Finally, you open the damn door. I've been waiting for you to open the door so we can let the people in. Right. You know, like type of thing. It was like, oh, my bad. Like I'm over here sitting, I'm in the wrong freaking door. Like I just had to open it for myself, so you can let the other people in. Like that's so crazy to me. So
law of attraction, baby.
yeah, like all of that. Like and I feel like it's a real thing, man. Like because similarly, like once I kind of really made that decision this year, this year has been my actual 100% year so far where I'm completely entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Like I have no, and I say that by saying I am not getting a W-2 next year.
Right.
That's,
Taxes are a pain in the ass. I
you know what I'm
promise you
saying?
that.
I still got to do mine.
Yeah. So
My shit took hours.
yeah, so that's a cool, like now all my stuff is like based on freelancing, 1099s and shit like that or whatever.
Not that 401k mentality.
Not exactly.
Get that
And
song.
I was actually telling my good homegirl this the other day. It actually took I think up until like a month ago where that check to check situation, that is like a thing, like a mental thing that like programs into your mind of like, oh, this is when I get paid on these Fridays or whatever it might be, bi-weekly and things like that, to where it got to a point where since I'm now all freelance gig based, it's a different type of mindset of like, okay, I have this chunk of change coming from this invoice, maybe not something big the next one or whatever, but this is going to add up and blase, to where it's like when you don't get paid or switching from the bi-weekly of like, okay, this is twice a month or whatever, but now I'm looking at the calendar and like, say if they were just like lit up and like, okay, there's the 3rd, there's the 7th, there's the 15th, 16th, 17th. I'm working that weekend, like, and this and that. Like, that's you almost have to like start to retrain your mind to certain things or whatever. So that's why, entrepreneurship or like just going after whatever you're going, like this, it's not for the weak of heart, but it is going to take whoever's listening out there that's like feeling inspired, man. You got to put in some work and believe in yourself and like really push for what you believe in. If you believe in what you are putting out in the world is a good product, or maybe you might not even be on that, and you just believe that you have the best thing or whatever. Just put it out there.
Most definitely. Well, and then one thing I actually want to add on to that real quick too is as an entrepreneur too, like full time, a lot of entrepreneurs make the mistake of working too much because they might have a day or maybe sometimes 2. Okay, now it's been 3 days I haven't been paid. Like I got paid. So you're just creating work for yourself all day, all those days. And it's like, if you don't stop and rest, you're going to keep fucking yourself up. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a hamster running on a wheel. Like if you don't stop for a second, like okay, hold on, let's see what's happening. And that's how I've been able to, I'm not a braggadocious person either, but be profitable in my business. Yeah. It's because I've been able to, hold on, let me stop for a second. Today, I'm not booked for whatever reason. Let's take this as a sign. To rest for a bit. Maybe just, go look, oh, I've been so booked up. I haven't posted in 7 days. You got to be consistent on that. Today's a media day. Today's that there's a day for everything. But the ultimate test isn't before you get the money, it's after you get it. Because after you get it, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Some people buy some shoes with it. Some people might, oh man, I done did so good this week. I done made $4,000 this week. I might buy me fucking a pound of weed just because I can now. But then next week, because you get that $4,000 one week, you're gonna think next week gonna be $4,000. Or next week might be $8,000. Right. Next week's only going to be about $500. You know what I mean? Then the next week was only about like $700. Yeah, so you might.
That's real.
So then, but you don't blow through that $4,000. Now you don't got no more. You got to set it aside. You got to put it into something that's going to make you some more money, or really, And in my personal belief, give some of it to God.
Amen.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. Give some of it to, people who need it, or catch up on your own bill, stuff like that. That's the real test, is once you get it.
Yeah. I believe in like creating multiple plans throughout the landscape of just like making money. And that's something that I've been cognizant on from a very young age. Like as far as when you do get some money, Like I pretty much have like different tiers within my brain for any level for me to hit at any point. So for example, like if I bump shoulders with a person that's going to level me up to 100,000, I know exactly what in my business where I can scale it for that 100,000. You know what I'm saying? Like what route I would take to utilize that to its best expenses. And that's also the same for if I get 5,000, obviously it's a different thought than the 100,000, you know what I'm saying? So if it's like a 5,000, okay, there's certain type of equipment that I can use for this or for this type of amount. Okay, this is specifically, okay, boom. This would be great for a marketing budget right now. Like, shit, I got 3,000. Shit, I should go ahead and get like 3 bomb ass videos or whatever it might be, you know? And so at any given point, because to your point, yeah, I think that's why so many athletes and rappers are music people and just creatives in general. Like we want the money, yeah, sure, but we don't have any ideas of like past the material stuff. Like, what do we really want it for? You know, like for me personally, I'm good after 500,000. I already know that off rip. I'm gonna go buy me some land somewhere. Go buy 14 acres or something somewhere in bumfuck wherever, and I'm gonna get me a nice little tiny home because that's all I need. For me personally, I only need 2 cars. I need me a nice little cool little nice sports car, and when I say sports car, I'm gonna get me a fire ass $60,000 Lexus.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna get me a pickup truck because I like to work. You know, I like to like haul shit around and shit like that or whatever. You know, like so after that, it's like, all right. What else is there? Which means cool. The rest of it going back into the company, you know? And like that's where the rest of the money has to go. So to your point, like people, you have to have a vision. Just open up a little bit more. It's not bad to look too far into the future, but you should have some ideas because that's where we get trapped at. Like you get $1 million, like you can't. If it is $1 million, like you have to like be smarter to, you know, back up just a second and be like, I can't buy a $600,000 house, you know, like especially cash. You know, it's like it's like what are we doing, you know?
Or just unnecessary shit like
you know, like the shoes and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Unless it's Uptown Indie, I'm kidding.
All right, for real. No, Uptown Indie, definitely. No, nothing wrong getting some clothes, but like, you know,
yeah, but it makes sense though.
Exactly, yeah. Or like I recently, you know, so I kind of, you ever fall into like a YouTube wormhole, like you watching like this one category of videos. I've been watching mansion tours lately.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and some of them are cool as fuck. Like, I was like, oh yeah, like I would actually get it. But then some of them are like 9 bathrooms. The fuck do I need 9 I got one ass. Right. I don't need 9 bathrooms.
Oh my god. Yeah. And I never understood because I'm like one thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, but one thing I feel like when it comes to like especially artists that are like out here making it big, especially doing their thing, why not give back some of that to the community, just like providing for you, just like supporting you? Like what are artists doing in that regard, in that gratitude?
Of course, yeah, that's super important, and I feel like, that's why I feel like your whole business is giving back to the community, Uptown Indie.
Yeah, I guess my community is artists, you know, versus the standard like people that are at like the shelter. I mean, not saying that I wouldn't help them too or whatever, but
of course,
yeah. But I'm focused on actually just building the next generation of artists. I think there's a different type of artist development type of campaign that I'm running as a business versus like, oh, let me try to find the greatest artists out there and like cultivate you. Nah, I'm not into that. Like I used to kind of be, but artists, we're so temperamental and shit like that. I got my own things.
I feel like that was a very like old school way of like thanking for talent, right?
It was, because also, it was also a money situation.
Yeah.
Like not many people, were the Barry Gordys or whatever that actually had like some type of capital to where I could even give this person a 15,000, a 20,000, take them on tour and this and that, you know, like and this and that. And because what I realized for myself, like, yeah, we're also in the age where it's kind of like a show improve, you know, like kind of what you were saying about people haven't seen your event, but once they do, they see how you run it, and they're like, oh, okay, cool, you know,
definitely June 6th.
Yeah, there you go.
Dream CLT.
There you go. So it's kind of like that situation of like, all right, let me show y'all how to be an independent artist, you know, and then as long as I have my receipts, I can back up everything I say. You know, you see how I move and this and that. You see what type of shows I do, whatever, you know, whatever it might be. And then the end of the day, like when you Google me or whatever, you know, it does look a little different. And then you know, like you Google Uptown Indies, like retail space, you know, out of brick and mortar location. There's business hours and things like that. So it presents this like validity, you know, to it that can't be like dismissed so easily or whatever. So because of that, I feel like that's what I'm the spokesman for what we do as a brand, you know, and I'm like, y'all can do it too. That's what I want you to do. Like, you not like, sure, at some point I'm sure I'll sign somebody, you know, and you know, and be into that like type of thing, because obviously Uptown Indie technically started as a record label because Dru Billions is on Uptown Indie, you know. We just branch off into products and services or whatever. But I want that for everyone. Like, I kind of loosely, I really pretty much want to see Uptown Indie in the next iteration of the top 3 music distributors now, which is Universal, Sony, and Warner Brothers. Being that the underneath us or combined within our portfolio is the Rizzy Ray Productions or whatever it might be, but way different type of contract structures and shit like that. Like, you know, like I kind of want to be like the S.C. Johnson of the music world, you know, in a sense where all of these products and stuff like are under this umbrella, but it stands for something, you know. It's because I want it to be when you walk into the room and have like an Uptown Indie stamp, like it hits different. You know, it's like Harvard. It's like, I went to Harvard. Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I went to Uptown Indie.
Different vibe.
Exactly. Or, you know, it's like my product is in Uptown Indie because people are going to know we're not accepting everybody, you know. And then the people that do get involved with it and then drop out or move on or something like that, they even understand it's like, oh, they respect the other person when they have like business together, because it's like, oh, I know that you're about your business because you went through Uptown. Yeah, you know, it's like, because they don't mess around. You know, it's like you had to have your LLC or some type of business, you know, to be in there or whatever, you know.
And I was gonna say that I feel like you help the other person in like, because people could see that and be like, oh my gosh, like that seems like a lot of work, but you actually helping them be more credible and be more responsible with their business too, with them little things, I feel like.
So I was actually thinking about that today. Like, there's going to be situations where, as far as like, say, a new product, a new person that comes along and they're like, oh, I want to get my product in here. We'll actually run like it'll be a couple days or whatever. It's not like just a one-time thing to where like, say, okay, you're making cell phone cases or whatever. All right, cool. Our first meeting, like, bring in what you have. Let me see your setup. Yeah. Let me see your product. Because now, what I was telling Rizzy off air, this is not like a department store or a vendor type of thing. I'm a luxury guy. Right. The shoes that we're selling are $250 plus. They're Italian, you know, so the decor and everything matches that to where the floors, they're white gold marble. Oh, it's gonna be beautiful. Beautiful. Can't wait to see it. It's good. It's beautiful. So this is actually like I'm combining like that clean lines of like an Apple store. Yeah. Combined with like just the colors and vision like of like a Disney type of situation where everything, it's meaningful, it's there for a purpose, and it's all for us artists. Like, man, it's to bring that value back. So whatever happens there, whatever person that performs there or whatever, there's value to it. Like when, you know, we were naming Evening Muse, we're naming Starlight, we're naming Neighborhood Theater, Blumenthal and this and that. Those institutions, you know, it would say, when was your where was your last comedy show? Comedy Zone. Oh shit, okay.
Yeah. It's a different feeling.
Exactly.
Different
you see what I'm saying? Same element that I just want to put back in the artist's hands, man. Like, but more so on us. We don't have enough of those venues, or enough artists that turn into business owners that care to like extend that. Me having all this knowledge don't mean shit. Like, because I'm gonna go wherever I go. Sure, that's all fine and dandy. But like, there's this type of knowledge it's not just for one person. Like, especially when it's all out there. I didn't come up with anything too out of the ordinary. I put a whole bunch of industries together. I might formulate it in a certain original way, you know, but a retail store exists.
Right.
People have sold music in a retail store before. You know, they performed. There's been a studio. There's been liquor there or whatever, you know. But I'm just like putting it in a way that like we can benefit from it on better,
a different service.
Yeah,
I feel like, and I feel like that. I want to like, you know, just me personally commend you on that, because I feel like talking with like a lot of artists, like I feel like a lot of them focus a lot on the product and not so much as like the service that comes with it, if that makes sense. And I feel like with everything that you have talked about on this podcast has been
service. I'm
in
service of the Lord, bro. I have to. I'm in service, so it's like that's what I've always. I don't care how many people come to anything that I do. If there's 5 people, if there's 20 people, 200 people, I want y'all all to feel the same.
Right.
I want y'all to leave with love.
Right.
I want y'all to feel motivated. I want y'all to feel inspired. All of the above. You know, these are the type of things that I'm focused on. I want you to leave with a friend. You know, man, back to your beginning. Like, of course, I'm not going to brag about it, whatever, or like pat myself on the back. But yeah, when I look around, I do see a lot of people that, like, I know you weren't moving like that until you came to one of my shows. I know that for a fact. I know that you're not going to say it or whatever. We don't even have to talk about it. But yeah,
it's a fact.
Yeah, you know, we know. Gladly, thankfully, the respect is always shown. You know, like no one has ever like, you know, said, I'd be damned, you know. I mean,
or taking advantage.
Yeah, nah, heck, nah. Nah, not at all. Like people, like they definitely see what's up or whatever with me or whatnot. Because I just try to keep it as chill as possible, you know. And I'm an artist advocate, you know. I'm trying to get people paid as much. Obviously, I haven't been able to pay everybody every single time or whatnot, like, you know, shit, because I haven't been paid. Like,
times is tough.
Yeah, a lot of my shows were free because of that situation. Like, it was just like, I just want y'all to see these dope artists that I think are dope too. Right. That's really what it is. I know the whole exposure thing, like, it's kind of played out at this point. That's why I kind of like backed away from it or whatever, but it's still a thing. Like,
I feel like even that's still
right.
So much value in it.
Of course, the show that I'm curating right now, I told the people that I put on, I said you have to sell 10 or more tickets to get put on the show. Yeah. And because if they sell 10 or more tickets, they get paid. Yeah. I don't want no one on my show not getting paid. Yeah. Because it's like, I'm not going to get paid unless y'all get paid, for one. And for two, I want everybody in there to equally be feeling like accomplished. I want the accomplished on my show. And 10 tickets isn't hard.
No. And then, you know, I used to like have a little gripe with it at one time, but I feel like my gripe was coming from the type of show that we were only being privy to, because it's hard to sell 10 tickets or any type of tickets or whatever, 10, 20, whatever, if I'm just going on stage to perform for one song, you know, at like an open mic, you know, or whatever. When some of these people are like, yeah, you know, send these tickets or whatever to an open mic, I'm like, bro, but I'm only performing one song.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
One song.
Like, my people do not want to drive whatever, 30 minutes, whatever, to come see me perform.
For one
like,
song?
It's one thing if, like, it's like a showcase or something like that, I'm like 15, 20 minutes, maybe, whatever, maybe even more or whatever. It makes more sense or whatnot.
Yeah.
But then what I really, like, what that is really, though, it's good that you're doing that because it's starting to train artists at a quicker pace to go out and network and talk about themselves. People just don't know how to sell themselves, or just like yes, the art can speak for itself for sure, but at the same time, it's a little easier if, like, hey, my name is Dru, I'm from such and such. Oh, I'm from such and such. Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah, man. Heck yeah, I do music. And I do music. But check this out. Versus,
yeah, like acting all scared. Yeah,
because I was like, what's he doing?
yeah, it's like, it's like, yo, check that out. Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what? Like, like, that.
Exactly.
Whatnot.
No, definitely.
Man.
This has been really great. We're actually running out of time.
Okay. All right.
But when is Uptown Indie opening, and where's it located?
Oh man, we are open December 1st, 2025. That's our grand opening. We are located in Kings Mountain, 411 North Piedmont Avenue. Yeah, it's gonna be great, man. Our fashion, music, lounge it's gonna be beautiful, and we have 3 distinct zones: retail. We have our Flamingo Lounge, our Flamingo Studio Lounge, I should call it, and our outdoor patio as well. That is gonna be nice.
Nice.
Oh, awesome. And where can they find you at so they can stay updated?
Oh, as far as me goes, I just use IG when I do use it these days. It's Dru Billions Music. You spell Dru with a U, DRU, Billions Music. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now, as far as keeping updated or whatnot. And then as we get closer to opening, then we'll start. It'll pretty much just shift over to more of our website and stuff like that. Because we're gonna be hitting hard, man. Let's just put it this way. I was able to get access into the Disney advertising, so
Nice.
You're gonna see Uptown Indie commercials on Hulu for sure.
Wow, that's fire.
Oh yeah,
Man,
we're
congratulations.
going all out.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
No, congratulations, man. Well, there's a tradition that we must always follow. We gotta play you the Pod Couple theme song,
Okay.
before by the late great Scar Sully.
All right.
Oh shit. My bad.
White guy,
Oh my gosh, what the fuck?
black guy, musician,
Oh, it's this one.
comedian.
Oh, I had the worst fucking audio. There we go.
Two unlikely friends. White guy, black guy, musician, comedian, straight,
Wait, what?
and gay.
No.
It's the Pod Couple, it's the Pod Couple, it's the Pod Couple, it's the Pod Couple. Feel free to throw it in your own line if you want. Hey, it's the Pod Couple, it's the Pod Couple
with Dru.
It's the Pod Couple. Hey, with Dru. Hey,
Yo.
I do it every time. We are out of here.